The Nashville Predators score more than one goal, but gave up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion's worth of goals in an embarrassing loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets in a game with very few bright spots. Today, we're going to highlight maybe the one.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off our Wednesday episode shouting out our Locked On Predators insiders and our everydayers who tune in to slog through this Predators hockey season with us. Win or loss, bless you. You stick around and we try to have a little bit of fun with a season of, well, not so much fun. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio, and friends, I have a partner in crime.
That you do. I am Emma Lingen, and I'm the Nashville Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News.
Oh, Emma, we deserve a raise. On today's show, we are going to talk about what could perhaps be one of the most excruciating games. Another disastrous performance by the Nashville Predators that saw Ryan O'Reilly fight, Steven Stamkos say swears at the ref, and of course, we had a former Nashville Predators score on the team. Upside, the Predators scored 3 more goals than they usually do, but they allowed 8 goals in a loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We are going to recap that game, including our one word to describe the misery. We are going to talk about one bright spot. Yes, Emma and I combed through 60 minutes of that. And there is something positive that we want to talk about when it comes to this Nashville Predators roster as it stands right now. Plus, Barry Trotz spoke on 102.5 yesterday. We're going to tell you what he had to say about consistency and when or if we will see Matthew Wood in gold this season. Yeah, Emma, y'all, we need to set up like a GoFundMe for Ann and Emma's therapy sessions. You all, and I know, lots of our insiders, bless you all. You are just diehards. You hang in there. You were watching this game. Some of you were watching the Hockeyverse game on Channel 5. And perhaps seeing it animated made it slightly more palatable, but this was a rough game. 8-4 loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Of course, Columbus battling for points. They really want to, try to get into that wild card spot. Nashville over here, like, when's vacation? Okay, this is like 8th period at Eisenhower High School on June 6th, you all. This is where we're at. Emma, I know it's hard to find words that are appropriate, but let's give it a shot. How would you recap this game using one or more FCC-approved words?
Well, if they must be FCC approved, then I'm going to go with 2 words.
Okay.
And they will require some explanation, but my 2 words are leftover pasta, because all I wanted to do was cover this game from my couch while eating my leftover pasta that I had from the night before. And the freaking goals just kept coming. And I was covering this game, as I mentioned, for the Hockey News. We have a live feed, live blog of the game that I was updating. And it was constantly like, okay, 1 more goal for either team. In the second period, there was 5 goals in the second period. So as soon as it would be, 1 goal, I'd finish writing it up, finish dropping in the video, be like, okay, good. Now I can go heat up my pasta. Then someone else would score. And then by that time it was, like 2 full periods of hockey before I got to finally eat my pasta. And at that point it was like, when you're so hungry for so long that you're just not hungry anymore.
Yes,
like,
you've missed your window.
Yes, that's the point I got to. And I was like, why was I looking forward to this? This isn't even enjoyable. But that was the game for me, for all of us. Just the goals did not stop.
The goals did not stop. Unfortunately, so many of them scored by the other team, as oft happens this season with the Nashville Predators. My one word is like 4.5 words, and it's going to involve some explanation. But Emma, you've been along for the ride with me a little bit on this offline. My one word is wild delight, sizzle, and heat. And that, my friends, is a kind of bird food. Now, Emma knows this. For Christmas, I got a bird buddy. And if you all don't know what this is, it is the greatest invention. And it makes me need to go get some more tattoos or piercings because it has revealed that I am, in fact, middle-aged because I am obsessed with my bird feeder. It is a live feed bird feeder. It records pictures and videos of all the birds that you get. It is the joy of my life now that, I don't have children around to pay attention to. I am obsessed with, I name the birds that have come. You can name the birds. Well, friends, 3 days ago, what popped up on my bird buddy camera? A freaking squirrel. Not on my watch, Satan. Not on my watch. No. Cinnamon and Boo Radley and all my other birds, they eat the bird food, not the squirrels. So it is on like Donkey Kong.
Don't forget about Cardi B.
And Cardi B, the Cardinal
Yes.
Cardi B. So it's on. Now, I don't have necessarily a personal beef with squirrels, but now that you're in my bird buddy, it's going to get real. So I researched and ordered something called Wild Delight Sizzle and Heat bird food. And what is interesting is it comes with I think it's like cinnamon and pepper in it. Squirrels can taste it. Birds don't have taste buds. Birds don't. So squirrels can't stand it. So I was like, it's time. So I get a scoop of my Wild Delight Sizzle and Heat, take it out to the bird feeder, and I'm very, very careful with the bag. But friends, even a little touch of Wild Delight Sizzle and Heat on your fingers, and then I somehow touched my face. I've washed my face, I bet 6 times today, Emma. I mean, I did the full shower to scrub my hands. My skin's still burning from this.
And I know you don't do spice, Anne,
I
of
don't
any
do
kind.
spice. I don't want it in my mouth. I don't understand spicy food. It is literally like you make your mouth taste like chapped lips. It's ridiculous to me. But now this is my skin. My skin is spice from Wild Delight Sizzle and Heat. Now, I really believe I have defeated the squirrels. And so it's for the long-term good, but it is painful. And that is this game. You know what? For the long-term good, lose this game. Lose this game. If it increases the draft lottery odds, swell. If it means that Barry Trotz, decides to move on from the coach in the offseason, swell. But friends, it burns. It burns. This is one of those games you're going to feel on your skin for days.
We have officially broken Anne, everybody. I would like to welcome you to Rock Bottom. Some of us have been here for a while. Welcome. It tastes like or it smells like Wild Delight Sizzle and Heat in here, but hey, welcome. The water's fine.
I'm telling you, I'm like, it is so and no joke, I was a wreck. I put my contacts in very early. Fortunately, my eyes don't burn, but all of my face, it's a whole thing, you all. But I will overcome, and the squirrels will find something else to do with their time. Now, will the Nashville Predators find something else to do with their time? I don't know. Here's the upside. They scored 4 goals, which I thought was illegal. I thought we only got 1 a game, Emma. 1 per 60. But there we were. 4 goals. Just as we drew it up, of course, Philip Forsberg, but then, of course, you had the goal scorers everybody anticipated, Michael Bunting, and then you had Justin Barron, and then Jordan Osterling. I mean, of course, that's who's scoring your goals in this game. The big 3, friends, and then that guy named Philip Forsberg throwing one in there. Y'all, pain. Coming up, we are going to share our insiders one word, and then we're going to talk about the one teeny tiny bright spot in this game, but that Emma and I think could be a difference maker for the Predators moving forward. We're going to tell you about that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. If you are looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I personally am a no shells variety kind of girl. It is the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I am working here at my desk or in my car on the way to Bridgestone Arena, or I just hit that point in the day where I'm like, ooh, mama needs some protein. They are a fabulous go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell option is a classic favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs the protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, Emma, we can always count on our insiders for great one words and also just to commiserate. It's part of the reason why we love this community. Cheaper than therapy, you all. Dustin's one word for the game: April Fools, because this team is a bad joke. Preds finally score 4 goals, but still lost by 4. Fabbro scored the customary former Pred goal. They gave up a hat trick and got the poop kicked out of them physically and mentally. Now, on to Dallas. Yeah, Dustin, it's sizzling heat, baby. It's sizzling heat. I love Leonora's one word: water torture. This game was a long, slow drip of non-stop pain. And I love this. She said, I almost wish we could put everyone out of their misery and forfeit the rest of the season's games. Yeah. I mean,
I believe, just talking about the long, slow burn there. I think you and I were texting during the game, Ann, and I said I would almost rather watch Colton Sisson's injury again, because at least that was over quickly. It was excruciating, but it was done in a second. This was excruciating for 60 minutes. And
unreal.
It was just, it didn't end. And I couldn't, and I was hungry on top of it because I couldn't eat my pasta. I get hangry. It's like once I've told people this, I'm like, once I vocalize that I am hungry, that's when the clock starts. And like, you better get me fed within like a 30-minute window or I will turn into a monster. I am like the Snickers commercials. And that was me during this game.
Yeah. 12 goals does not give you much of a chance to hit the microwave and reheat some stuff. 12 goals, you all. 12 goals. Oh, my heavens. Jennifer did say that losing in the hockeyverse is better than losing in real life because cartoons are funny. Jennifer was at the watch party. She said, I love you, Jennifer. It's either that or the amaretto sours, but something made that game better. Maybe Jennifer's onto something, you all. Man. Now, there is one thing that Emma and I want to highlight, and it was very hard to find anything positive in this game, but I think collectively over the last few weeks and in this game, there is one thing that we want to highlight that I think is a positive for the Nashville Predators, especially going forward. And friends, that's the performance of Michael Bunting. There is a lot to like about Michael Bunting, Emma. There was not a lot to like in this game, but you got to like what we've seen from Michael Bunting.
Yes. And I do want to be clear in saying this. I am not trying to, pull a fast one on anyone. And I'm not trying to hop on board and do positive team PR, because, the Michael Bunting trade, what a good trade that was. Like, no, I'm not saying that this is I'm not hopping on the Barry Trotz bandwagon right now. Right. I am truly just saying that does it offset any of the other calamities that have befallen us this season? No, not at all. But listen, this job is not fun. We don't get paid enough when the team is doing this poorly. So sometimes we like to look at the positive things. And it doesn't mean that we're ignoring the negative things, because we are not. We see them.
Oh, we see them.
We see them, we feel them. Michael Bunting. So he's a guy that, gets to the tough areas. He gets to the hard areas. And you know what? He scored a goal against Columbus, one of the four, just an onslaught from the Predators. One of the four goals. I swear it was like a spin move and he just threw the puck on the net. Now, is that always going to be the recipe for success? No, like you want to have a little bit of strategy there, but you're actually like he fired it through traffic. I don't know how it got through all those people, but it landed in the back of the net. And I think that is something that, we've seen that. We've seen him do good things on the power play.
Right.
Again, not against Columbus, but in general, the power play has been looking pretty good lately. We've seen him getting to those like greasy areas in front of the net. That's what this team needs more of. And it's like, see what happens when you're not afraid to shoot the puck, when you're not afraid to get into those hard areas. And again, like, do I think that Michael Bunting is going to solve all of their offensive woes? Of course not, because it's a much bigger problem that you have Steven Stamkos and Philip Forsberg and Jonathan Marchessault on your team, and you are relying on Michael Bunting to be your offense. But
yeah,
hey, that's where we are right now. So yes, I would just like to say, for all of the questionable decisions that Barry Trotz has made, I think he's made some very sound ones. I think he has also made some very questionable ones. This trade, I don't think, I do think that Michael Bunting will end up being an offensive upgrade over Tommy Novak. So that is at least good to see. I know that people, it's easy to try to judge a GM, if he makes one or two moves that you don't like, then it's like, oh, he's a bad GM. It's like, no, we can actually judge each of his decisions individually at this point, because he hasn't really been in the job long enough for us to make sweeping generalizations about what kind of job he's done. But I think, certain moves like Justin Barron, horrible. Dante Fabbro on waivers, horrible. But, Michael Bunting, not
pretty
bad.
good.
Yeah.
What is so interesting to me about Michael Bunting, you mentioned this. This is a guy that goes to the hard areas. And for whatever reason, Nashville has not done that this season. They did last season. We talked about this on a previous show. They were third in rebound goals for last season. This season, not great. Not great at all. But here is what I like about Michael Bunting. Nashville likes to develop, like they have this thing, and I'm thinking of players like Cole Smith and Michael McCarron a little bit. Like those are kind of the physical guys. Michael Bunting has that physicality. He has that strength. He has that willingness to go to the hard areas, but he also has that offensive upside. There's no sacrificing what he can do offensively. You can see that his game has both. And it feels like Nashville has tried to pigeonhole some players into you have to be one or the other. And I'm thinking of players like Phil Tomasino and Juuso Parssinen. And look, I'm not saying that, those guys are out just cranking out goals with their new teams, but it was almost like Nashville didn't believe you could be a guy who is physical and who battles for space and wins and finish with goals. Well, Michael Bunting's busy doing that. And so I think that that's a good thing. The other thing I will say, and you mentioned power play, I'm very curious to see what happens on the top power play unit next season. And this is something that we'll dive into in the off season, but could Michael Bunting perhaps unseed somebody from that first power play unit? Might be something that we see.
Well, and I think the power play aspect is a good thing to focus on too, because I remember when Nashville traded for Bunting, in the way that Barry Trotz described him, and he's kind of got that grit, that sandpaper, that edge that he plays with. One of the kind of chief complaints, I think, from the fan base, and understandably so, was Well, we had that in Kiefer Sherwood and you let him
Mhm.
walk, and now you have Bunting. That's fine if that's what he brings to the table, but he's more expensive than Sherwood. So
Why?
why is he worth it? Well, that power play
Power
upside,
play.
that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Big part.
9 power play goals when he was with Pittsburgh. Like, he is a great
And
contributor on that.
2 with Nashville already.
Welcome, Michael Bunting. Thank you for giving us something positive. I do think that this is somebody who Nashville is going to need to capitalize on what he brings as they kind of construct lines and roster next season. Like, there is a specific skill set here that I think deserves extra consideration and attention when you are putting together lines, when you are discussing things like the power play unit. Michael Bunting has shown he's one of those players that they need to be mindful of as they kind of construct things. Coming up, Barry Trotz, we were just talking about him. He was on the radio yesterday talking about the future, the near future with Matthew Wood, and maybe some things he wants to see next season. We're going to talk about what he had to say coming up. Today's episode's brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is really easy to lose track of your spending. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It is your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, and your spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track that spending, and even set and plan your long-term financial goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right, Emma, one other thing I wanted to say, just kind of closing the door on that Columbus Blue Jackets game. That was the kind of game that I thought Nashville would play this season. I really felt like, okay, you know what? Nashville is a team that may give up a little bit too much defensively, but man, with Stamkos and Marchessault and Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly and Gus Nyquist, they are going to score some goals.
Gus Nyquist.
Remember
Who's
him?
he?
Do you
No.
remember? He was a Swede. We liked him. Yeah, he's gone
84 years ago.
4 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah. I miss Luke Shen. Every so often I miss seeing Luke Shen just slowly moving up the ice there, hitting some people. Ryan O'Reilly had to fight you all because where was Luke Shen? Where was Luke Shen, you all? Winnipeg.
I remember when I thought Luke Shen was this team's biggest problem on
I miss
defense.
those
I
days.
miss those days. And as far as Ryan O'Reilly fighting, first of all, not that it would have impacted the outcome of the game whatsoever, but horrid officiating. I mean,
Dude, not good.
Philip Forsberg was in a like a what's the word that I'm
Headlock?
trying to headlock. Thank you.
Headlock.
Wow.
I
I
got
had
you.
yeah, see this game has just like completely
Blood
fried
sugar's
my
low
brain.
from no pasta, but go ahead.
No pasta, and I just sat through 60 minutes of whatever that was. So yeah, I'm a little slow. Headlock, thank you.
Mhm.
But then Ryan O'Reilly had to fight the guy, and I'm like, maybe he's playing chess, not checkers here. Maybe he was just trying to get himself thrown out the game so he did not have to deal with this anymore. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's honestly brilliant. And you and I, next home game, let's try to get ourselves thrown out of the press box when,
This will be a rumble in Media Row, you all.
yeah, when things get out of hand.
Yeah. We'll take on Robbie Stanley. Can you imagine? We could take him. We could take him. Here's the other thing I want to say about that. I did not think the officiating was good. I did not think it was consistent. And look, let's be real, would not have changed the outcome of this game. Nashville sunk that ship all on their own. But the theater major in me wants to give kudos to some of those Columbus Blue Jackets players who can dive and act as if they were in my acting class at Westminster College with Dr. Lambert. Well done, boys. Barry Trotz on the radio talking about the Nashville Predators. One of the things that he had to say was Matthew Wood. We had talked about this previously this week. Matthew Wood signed his ELC. Looks like he will be joining the team perhaps in Dallas. Of course, he's got some things to work out with college and all, because I don't think they just drop out of their classes. Like Jake Livingstone, when he did this, he had to like do all kinds of work outside of this. Bless
Yeah,
you.
Nick Blankenberg, when he signed with Columbus out of college, he still had to like write a 10-page paper and take an exam like while playing in the NHL. I'm like, can you imagine?
No.
I'd be like, no.
Be like, I am in the NHL, and I would write that line over and over again on 10 pages. But that's just me. I'm sure Nick Blankenberg make a better choice. Barry Trotz did also say Matthew Wood, we are likely to see him in the NHL. Emma, is there an upside or a downside for you, looking at the Predators situation right now, not going to the postseason, kind of how do you weigh the upside and downside of putting Matthew Wood out there in the NHL for a couple of games right now?
Well, quite frankly, I don't know if I can handle watching this team go 11-7 again for a third straight
Oh
game,
my gosh.
especially against Dallas. Like, I just don't know that I can physically take it. So even if it's just having another body out there, I think it couldn't possibly be any worse. Now I say that and they'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
But I think, on one hand, this is good. It's a good situation for a young player to come in. There are literally zero expectations, zero pressure, or at least there should be. I worry that, he won't feel this. Matthew Wood won't feel this, but like fans might be like, oh, you're our only hope. And it's like, obviously, that's not for this year. The hope ship sailed a long time ago this year. But like, oh, well, if Matthew Wood doesn't come out and immediately look like Connor McDavid, then we are just doomed. And it's like,
Yes.
well, no. Now, I don't think the team expects that of him, nor should they. But I do think it's better than like if the Predators were in the thick of a playoff race right now, then there would be a lot more pressure and a lot more eyes, and any mistake that he will inevitably make because he is new to this league will be put under a magnifying glass, and it'll things will seem worse than they are. And so I think that in this kind of situation, now you wish that things weren't this bad, like as bad
Can
as
you
they are.
imagine? Like, welcome to the NHL and your NHL debut. Look around at your teammates who look like someone kicked their puppy.
Yes. And that's what I kind of hate for him, that it's like, this is an exciting time. You should be happy and welcome to hell. But I think if the alternative is being in a playoff race where you're under immense pressure during your formative time in the NHL, then I guess this is a decent alternative. But I don't know. I think that it's, at this point, we've talked about this, it's like you're trying to find something positive to build on for next season, and time is running out. I don't know if you're going to find that something with the team that they currently have. Maybe Matthew Wood provides a little something. Who knows?
And I think that people need to be careful not to read too much into whatever happens, like you say, on the ice, but also just long-term plans. Because here's what's real. Barry Trotz, he is all about marinating young players. He is a big guy talking about, like, look, the NHL, not an easy, quote unquote, development league. It's not an easy league. So regardless of how Matthew Wood performs, I wouldn't take this to necessarily mean, he's not going to be in Milwaukee next season. He's going to be with Nashville. Look, he has to be with Nashville right now. That's just how it is. I think it'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes. Bless his heart. Matthew Wood, we will be so excited for you. The vibes might not be great, but You go get them. The other thing Barry Trotz talked about that I thought was really interesting is he talked about consistency. And hindsight is 2020. Also, Emma and I, 2020, because this is something that we have talked about. The Preds and the line blender. And Barry Trotz talked about the fact that, look, consistency with lines was a problem early. Now, he did say, when you start out 0-5, you hit the line blender trying to find something. The problem is the blender has been running all season long. So there really is very little as far as line chemistry, especially now when 2/3 of the team is still just meeting each other because everybody is injured. But consistency is something that Barry Trotz wants to see next season with the lines. He did say that he'd been talking with Bruno about how he wants it to look next season. And I'm like, are you talking to Bruno about that next season? Y'all.
Barry, we need to stop with the the Easter eggs about talking to Bruno about next year or talking to Bruno during the summer. Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it. I only want to know what you are thinking, you, Barry, are thinking about for next year, because I know that you will still be here, and I think you should still be here.
Correct.
I do not think that Andrew Burnett should still be here. And so I'm going to need you to stop with the whole, we're going to change how we do things in training camp. We who? We
Barry,
you,
Emma, and Ann. That is who the we needs to be that Barry Trotz is talking about right now, y'all.
And I mean, you and the Lord and Emma and Ann, and that's it.
That's the foursome that is talking about what is going to happen in training camp. It's tough, and I get it. You can't. Anything he says right now is going to shift the narrative, but it is alarming to me. My knee-jerk reaction, especially after watching an 8-4 loss, and and knowing that Barry Trotz is talking about me and Bruno, he and Bruno. Oh
yeah,
y'all, it is wild delight, heat and sizzle all over your face. It is. It's just, it burns. The thought of it burns, Emma. And you and I have hung on. We have been diplomatic. We have been patient, but we are past the point where there should be a we that is not Emma and Barry Trotz and the Lord.
I just need everyone listening to know that Anne, the Optimist, was ready to fire Bruno as soon as this Columbus game was over.
And I did.
I was like, oh my God, we finally broke her. It was the sizzling heat. It just completely broke her.
And who was my suggestion and I've always said, 1B question, who's going to be the next head coach? Who did I suggest coach out the rest of the season? The equipment manager, Pete.
Pete, the equipment manager.
Honestly, Pete behind the bench, y'all.
Honestly, Pete put the fear of God into me when I worked for the team. I think he could do that for the rest of them. Put Pete in charge. Put anyone in charge. Put anybody. Put one of the ushers in charge. I don't care. I think, though, and I've said this before, how this is not a season after which there should be any question as to whether or not there will be a coaching change. And the fact that I still am split 50-50 down the middle, not as far as what I think should happen, but as far as what I think will happen, that's frightening to me. That is frightening.
Shoving your head in the bag of wild delight, you all. It is literally just shove your whole head in the bag and rub the heat and sizzle or sizzle and heat all over your face. That's what that feels like, because Emma, I'm right there too. Know what needs to happen, but can't tell you that it's gonna, friends. We got to give it to you straight. Got to give it to you straight.
We just gotta next game, just bring a bag of that sizzling heat with you, and I'll just shove my head in it when things get bad. Then just be like, this is where it ends. This is how it ends right now.
I bet if I threw some on the ice, y'all, it is this spicy. I bet I would melt the ice and I'd have to call the game. So somebody else scores 8 goals on us. Who's going to end that game? And her sizzling heat.
And it would probably get you kicked out. So 2 birds, 1 stone.
Win with literally birds. Literally. Yes. You all. It's been 84 years. It's been 84 years. You know what? We are closing the door on this Columbus game. Here's the part that's just painful, Emma. You know what the next game is? The Dallas Stars, baby.
That's adding some extra sizzle to the heat there. That's just this
game is gonna kill the squirrels.
Oh my gosh, like the squirrels will actually be deceased after this. I again don't know if I can handle watching this team go out 11-7 one more time.
No, there's no excuse.
Because oh gosh, just defensively. Now, we'll talk about this more tomorrow's episode when we preview the Dallas game, but like there are some weaknesses potentially that I think Nashville could exploit with Dallas. Will they? I don't know.
I don't know.
Sure.
That's right. Friends, we have gotten through this game recap. We hope we have enlightened you on how to get rid of the squirrels in your yard. Also, if you have any ideas, and I am not joking, I guarantee you when this episode previews, my skin will still be burning. I have tried lotions. I told you I have washed my face probably 6 times today. I have done all sorts of like skin. If you have a legit suggestion for what will get rid of the burn on my face, please drop us a note on Twitter or in this video, because it is painful. I am in pain and the birds have to eat tomorrow. I'm still going to feed them tomorrow. So I'm going to need somebody to solve this for me.
Do you have an ice roller? Have you tried an ice roller?
Oh, that's a great idea. Let me try that. I'll try that tonight. But y'all, if you have any other suggestions, just drop them in the comments, because we got problems to solve in the Nashville Predators. Well, we can't solve those problems, but you all can help my burning skin. So if you would do that, I would appreciate that.
The Predators are too far gone, but we can, you can say all your skincare questions answered here at the Locked On Predators podcast.
That's right. You all can save me. Do us a favor. Drop us a comment. Emma, before we sign off and I go wash my face for the 7th time today, will you let everyone know where they can find you and your work?
You can find me with my head buried in a bag of sizzling heat, watching the Predators, and you can find me as well on Twitter and Instagram at Emma_Lingen, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
Friends, you will find me in the bathroom washing my face again. You will find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio. Tonight, Penalty Box Radio, 8 o'clock, 1025. We are going to chat with Ozzy Weisblatt. Now, there's a delight for the season. Ain't no sizzling heat on Ozzy Weisblatt's season, ladies and gentlemen. So tune in on 1025 for that. Friends, we thank you so much for going along on this ride with us with the Nashville Predators. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day today. We hope you all have a fabulous Wednesday. We will be back tomorrow to preview. Oh, Lord, help us, that Dallas Stars game. We'll see you then.